He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women every single morning, Monday through Friday, that make this place a great place to live, work, and play. We're celebrating coastal Mississippi every day on Coast View. Hey, let me start out the show and just say good morning to my buddy Kyle, my partner in crime, Kyle Curley. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Is everything working good at the studio these days?
As far as I know, yes.
As everyone knows, Kyle's an IT guy, operations guy. He does voice for multiple radio stations. He produces this show. He knows where all the Band-Aids are in the technology, don't you, Kyle?
Yes, I do, unfortunately. But, it's all good. You need to
you do a great. Say it again. I'm sorry.
I got one computer that's giving me problems at work, but that's all right. It'll be easy.
Yeah, you're doing good. Hey, Kyle, I was checking some of the numbers this morning, and our guest this morning, who has some social media and PR experience, he'll appreciate these numbers, and we'll get to him in a second. But some of the engagement numbers, new page likes for Coast View are up 53%. Post reach is up 589%. Post engagement is up 432%. And that's from the period December the 28th through January the 24th. And what that, that's just one. I like metrics. I like to be able to see, how is it going? We're getting good response from the radio show. The social media engagement continues to go on. And that means that people are really engaging with celebrating coastal Mississippi. It's been fun kind of bringing this to them, hasn't it?
It really has. And it's good to see the numbers starting to back that up. We always knew that, it's picking up steam, and it's good to have the solid research behind it.
Yeah. I think at one point I was adding up all of the views we've had of the videos on social media, and we were approaching 500,000 views, which for a local show, that's pretty darn good, man. We've done well. So anyway, thanks for your support, man.
Yep, you bet.
You've been terrific. I got a couple of things I want to share with you before we go to our guest from my friend Stacy Waldrop. Again, one of the most positive people I know. She's a school nurse, which is so important during the pandemic. And she's also a cancer survivor. So when she shares something, she shares it from the heart. And this one this morning is terrific. Here it is. Be a reflection of what you'd like to receive. If you want love, give love. If you want truth, be truthful. If you want respect, give respect. You reap what you sow. So basic, but it is so true. And then my friend Deborah Harrison, she's from coastal Mississippi. She lives up in North Mississippi today. She watches the show, I think, just about every day. But she's got such a cool view toward life. She says it's better to look back on life and say, I can't believe it. I can't believe I did that. Than to look back and say, I wish I did that. I think Zane to Zany is where she got that. But it's so true. Too many people look back and say only if, but my urging always is to not say that. Put you in a position to do the things you really want to do and not regret it. I hope you're doing well in your Coast View challenge to make the next 6 months the best 6 months of your life. Let's bring better versions of ourselves into the post-pandemic life. I know that I'm working harder to do that myself, and hope you're doing well in that challenge. And so now let's move to our guest today, Jase Payne. He's the Director of PR and Social Media at the Focus Group, and he's also the incoming president of the Public Relations Association of Mississippi, the Mississippi Beach chapter, an organization that I know really well. But anyway, good morning, Jase. How are you?
Good morning, Ricky. Thank you for having me.
So I know your mother, Debbie, and your dad, George Payne, really well. I've worked with your dad in so many different ways. We never worked directly together, but in my work early in my life as a paramedic, I knew him. And then later in life at the Sun Herald, watched his career so closely. And I hope he's enjoying retirement.
He is. His social hour now is at Dr. Gaddy's office or seeing people at the doctor's office. So, when he retired, he told people close to him that he was heading to the farm, and that's where he was going to be, and he's held true to it. So they're enjoying it for sure. Thank you for asking about.
Yeah, well, you bet, man. Think the world of them. And frankly, that's what I tried to do too. I told people that too. I remember John Hairston early on said, "Man, what are you going to do now?" I said, "Nothing. I'm going to fish and spend time up in the Delta at our place up there, and that's what I'm going to do." And I've been honored to have this opportunity to come back. And now that I've been in this seat for about a little over a year now, here at the Coastal Mississippi studio right here in my house, the opportunity to celebrate Coastal Mississippi and people like you has been just an honor. So I'm thrilled by it. But at some point, your dad probably will come out of retirement and do something in the community. That's what I guess.
He's still talking to a lot of people, and so it's funny. He's my mentor and also my best friend, and so I give him a debrief almost every day on kind of what's going on and things like that, and he gives me his perspective on things, and so between that and we have a pretty big family down here and still involved in a lot of different areas. He still likes to stay up to date on a lot of what's going on in Coastal Mississippi.
Well, the Payne family has an amazing legacy of loving Coastal Mississippi. It's incredible. And most of them went into law enforcement. Some went into law enforcement and then went to do other things with their lives. They've been tremendously successful. And you didn't go into law enforcement. You decided a different path. And tell me about how you decided to do what you're doing today.
So when I was in 5th grade, that's when Dad started his first campaign for sheriff of Harrison County. Before that, he was the chief of police for Gulfport. I was born and raised underneath the Gulfport community and the Gulfport Police Department. And so, I've been a people person my entire life. And then moving into when Dad was sheriff and campaigning with him and, watching my siblings and watching my family, it really just kind of came to odds that, I liked people and I wanted to do something else. And, Dad always supported that. He was not, he never pushed me in one direction or another. I did theater a lot at Gulfport High, and I left Gulfport High, looking to either go to state and do political science or even, look into getting into a production background. And then I moved home and then went back to Southern Miss, and that's where my PR and mass communications journey started. And so had you asked me growing up if I would have been a public relations or marketing professional, I would have told you no. I'll be doing something else, or I'll be somewhere else. But I'm blessed for how everything has played out.
Well, you got to spend some time at the city of Gulfport working in the Gulfport Leisure Services area, and that's for people who don't understand, that's actually a really important part of the city of Gulfport's extension, Absolutely. Isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's huge. Yeah. And so, from managing the Gulfport Sportsplex, the Gulfport Harbor Lights, the beautification across the whole city, community centers, athletics. I mean, they touch citizens every single day. The quality of life in Gulfport really does, go through the Department of Leisure Services. And so I learned a lot. Going into that position, I got to learn exactly how much that department, is doing for the city. Initially, I went into it, for the position for the Sportsplex, and to be a part of the city. I thought it was an awesome opportunity considering what my family had done. But no, I mean, it's incredible what they do every single day for the citizens of Gulfport, for sure.
So there's an element in there of business development, significant business development. Then there's a lot of marketing, especially social media. And you were able to continue to sort of hone your skills in that area, and eventually came to the focus group. And now you're sort of the director of PR and social there. And you're only, 31 years old?
31, turn 32 this April.
I remember the day that Roland Weeks, when I was at the Sun Herald, he named me a director of operations, and I was only 26 years old at the time. And I thought to myself, has he lost his mind? Yeah. But what you see today, that was a pretty big move back in those days. But today you see young people aspiring to great heights, more so than you used to. The opportunities in Coastal Mississippi for young people to achieve great success early in their lives is pretty significant, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's something that's going to be vital to our success as a region. In recruiting new people to the coast and keeping our best talent here at home. we have to make those adjustments. And, at the same time, we do have an aging population throughout the state of Mississippi. And so making sure that succession is there is very important to growth, no matter what sector you're in.
Well, we talk about it all the time on the show, but one of the biggest challenges that you just pointed to is the fact that we have brain drain, young people who go to great universities here in coastal Mississippi, but then unfortunately to achieve the goals they have for their lives, they have to go out of the state to be successful. And, one of the things that we, I've had, whether it be Eric Hill at Mississippi State's Entrepreneur Program or Ashley Edwards from the Gulf Coast Business Council or the Chamber leaders, there's a lot of focus here about how to strategically position coastal Mississippi so that it can get younger people and stop the brain drain. And that's so important. You could have gone off. You had great roots here, and that sort of kept you here. But there are a lot of people that I know that had to go away. But let's do this. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Jase Payne. I want to hear a little bit more about what you do at the focus group, and then we'll switch gears and talk about your new community position with the public relations organization. So we'll be back after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast View on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. We got to talk Jimmy Buffett.
One day at breakfast, he says, I started a new song. He says, about a night and a day in Key West, I played a bar and I got drunk, and coming home, I stepped out of my flip-flop, and I just kept going. I stepped on a beer can. And the next morning, I'm up, and I'm hungover, and I'm trying to make a margarita. I got some shrimp boiling. I can't find the salt. I said, Jimmy, I kind of like this. And he said, yeah, I think I'll call it Margaritaville.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on your local SuperTalk Mississippi station and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
The Lars Larson Show. On the left, they say that this president has divided America. No, the opposition, the resistance to Donald Trump is what has divided America. Because Donald Trump said he would work with both sides, and he's shown that he would. But the Democrats, because they want to take a position that everything about Donald Trump is wrong, to a large extent, they have refused to work with him on anything.
The Lars Larson Show, weeknights at 6 on SuperTalk Mississippi. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Jase Payne with us this morning. He's the director of PR and social media for the Focus Group, but he's also the president of the Public Relations Association of Mississippi Beach chapter. You talked about, opportunities for young people, but one of the reasons why there are opportunities for young people is because things like the Leadership Gulf Coast program, the Gulf Coast Business Council's Master's program, the Coast Young Professionals, there's so many efforts to engage young people as early in their careers as they feel they're ready to do this, to be involved in understanding the bigger picture of our region and how all the dots connect. That's really important, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Coast Young Professionals especially. I've been on that board for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. And I love meeting with people who have moved into the area for work. And, a lot of us that have stayed home and have been blessed to have families here and have that networking opportunity, there's a lot of people moving into our area who do not have that opportunity, who do not have that network. And so really bringing them in and saying, hey, you have a right arm to reach out to, how can we help you? We want to make sure that you grow here and you stay here. And so, Coast Young Professionals, it's dedicating to building young leaders.
And so, then the master's program.
Yeah, and the master's program.
Yeah.
Yes, that was one of my that's probably my favorite program so far as an outside of work program. I was able to Ashley Edwards, Ben Hunter, Mark Henderson, Kimberly Nastasi, all these great leaders that I got to work with and learn from, and we went to Atlanta and got to learn a lot about how Atlanta has just, it's killing it. And especially in attracting people, millennials and people younger. And so, it was just a great opportunity. I think so many people need to take advantage of that and learn about their home and what we need to do in order to compete with metro areas like Atlanta and other places.
Well, I talk about this all the time. And when I was publisher of the Sun Herald, it's sort of, my beck and call. And that is that it's these small towns that make coastal Mississippi so unique. It's the sense of place that exists in each one of them that makes them unique. But when you bring them together into the coastal Mississippi region, we're the strongest region of the state in just about every way. We're the economic engine that drives the state. But it takes leadership that's focused on sort of the bigger picture while appreciating the diversity that's going on in each of the communities. That's so important. Right. So tell me about what you do at the Focus Group.
So with the Focus Group, I initially started off in business development and public relations, and they were looking to grow the public relations side of the firm. And so I came in November of 2019, and my role has evolved since starting. When I came to the Focus Group, we had just landed the Mississippi Census account. And so we did all the social marketing PR for the Mississippi Census. And so for me as a Mississippian and someone who loves our state and loves the coast, I was excited about it. I was excited to be running another statewide campaign and to be helping people. That was the big part, is that once I learned that big picture, this is not only help the state, but this is going to help people, with federal assistance. I jumped all over it. And so we ran that for several months. And then after that, we have a wide variety of clients. And so, making sure that we're staying on brand message. There's different clients that have different strategy options to move forward to, especially in 2020 with COVID. I mean, everything was really just, you had to pivot. I mean, everyone had to learn how to pivot. And so, that's the beauty of working for a marketing firm is really no day is the same. Every day is something different. Every day is a different client. And so, it's been really fun. And it's also, we've stayed very busy, 2020, not only with the census, but with a lot of our clients coming forward and saying, hey, we've got to do something now. And, it's been awesome. One of the best stories was Biloxi Shrimp Co., who is a client of ours. And basically Biloxi Shrimp Co. evolved from COVID-19 with Biloxi Freezing and Mark Marver and Jonathan McClendon. And so, through COVID and through them basically having, all of their wholesale industry, slowed down, they started selling shrimp to locals, and they saw people coming from 60, 70 miles away. And so, through that process and them being, good businessmen, they came forward to us and we all built Biloxi Shrimp Co. together. And so on a daily basis, I'm running their social media, and our team is handling all the creative and everything. And so that's a very fun project and account.
Well, I know Mark, and frankly, I've watched through social media, frankly, the whole evolution of that idea. And, it's one example, and I say it all the time, that the businesses of coastal Mississippi, small and large, have had to be incredibly adaptive in the pandemic. They've had to be innovative. And because they've done that, from casinos to the smallest company, because they've done that, the economic impact of the pandemic on coastal Mississippi has not been nearly as severe as it could have been. In fact, the tourism industry alone has performed better than most in the United States. It's quite amazing, the innovation and how we've been able to turn on the dime. So, Jase, before we get, I don't want to get so deep into this that we forget that in the short time we have left. I want to tell me about the Public Relations Association of Mississippi. What does the Mississippi Beach chapter do?
So the Mississippi Beach chapter services Hancock and Harrison County, and we meet every month on the second Monday. And really, it is a fellowship of PR practitioners. And we come together, and it's not trade secrets or anything, but we do come together and discuss trends. We discuss data. We discuss different ways to do things. I joined the board, I think 5 years ago with Pram, and ever since then I've met people all across the state, all across Louisiana. And, to this day, I reach out to some of them because, we live in this world of, you wake up and you're behind in trends, you're behind in just about everything. And so having that resource and that network of like-minded individuals, there's not too many, I don't want to say this in a negative light, but, when people think of public relations or marketing in Mississippi, they may have some questions. And so it's just a matter of having these people that do it every single day that you can come to and say, hey, have you looked over this, or have you heard of this, or, what's your strategy for, marketing this type of brand or this type of product. And so, we do cover a lot more, I think, than probably other PR chapters around the nation, because, we go from communications to marketing to PR, the entire world of it. A public relations title position in 2021 wears a lot of hats. And so we do cover a lot.
It really does. And as I mentioned to you when we were off the air, when I was publisher of the Sun Herald, I always stayed in close contact with Pram, because I always felt like the public relations representatives, and it's not just PR people, it's marketing people. It's a wide range of people who are in this space, was always sort of in tune with what was going on. So when I was asked to speak, and what was interesting, I would always make a few remarks, but then the Q&A is where the real communications were really taking place. When I went to Alabama, I took that experience with me and did that really across the state. And then when I was in New Orleans, I did the same thing. But I've always found that if you really want to get a sense of what's happening with that organization, you just have to, you have to be in touch with them and be aware of what they're doing. And you can go to that one meeting and see so many professionals all at one time.
Yeah.
So people what would your message be to PR people who may not be involved and probably, should think about it?
Oh, I mean, reach out to us. I mean, you can send me a message on Facebook. You can send me an email, and we can discuss it. I mean, it is a great opportunity. Like you said, we have so many professionals, and I mean, whether it's gaming, insurance, government. I mean, we have representatives from Keesler. We have representatives from the CB base. We really do cover every sector, and it's just a matter of getting involved. If you want to be involved and be a part of a group of professionals that really know what you're going through on a daily basis, and we want to help you. That's the biggest thing. People come to us all the time. They're like, well, what are we going to get out of this? You're going to get a network of people that want to help you, and that want to grow you and help your professional development. And that's really the biggest thing. And I love that you mentioned the Q&A part, because that Q&A part is really where the beauty comes from those meetings. Because everyone, it's our job to stay on top of things as a PR professional. It's our job to stay on top of the trends on every social media channel, on the new email marketing. And especially in the agency world, where our entire team, that's our daily grind. And so, for Cram, it's just that opportunity to really have that right arm, kind of what I was talking about for Coach Young Professionals earlier. It is that next up, outside of work and outside of friends that you can come to and really get professional guidance as well as some fellowship.
I see the new state flag behind you. I can't help but think about it being displayed at the recent presidential inauguration. It would have been, I would say, embarrassing to have our old flag there, but frankly, I don't think they would have flown our old flag, and that would have in itself created unbelievable attention. I'm so proud of our state and our leadership and the fact that the voters overwhelmingly approved that new flag, and we can move forward. To your generation, this was an incredibly important message, wasn't it? We've got about 30 seconds.
Yes, it was. And I honestly think that we finally saw the millennials get involved in Mississippi.
Yeah.
I think that, COVID did bring some, as far as the lockdowns, people got involved. They started to consume themselves with what was happening. And, we had a lot going on. So it was, it was something that was special to me.
A huge accomplishment. Anyway, this is Jase Payne. Thank you, Jase, for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll be back in just a second with Matthew Walker from Memorial Hospital.
Broadcasting safe and sound from the coastal Mississippi studios, this is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk 103.1.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
When you listen to SuperTalk Mississippi, you become part of a statewide community, a community of knowledgeable, engaged, enlightened, well-informed, hard-working men and women just like you, all eager to see the Magnolia State grow and prosper. There may be some disagreement on how to get there, but the goal remains the same, for each Mississippian to reach their American dream. Thanks for listening and being a part of the conversation on SuperTalk Mississippi. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Perhaps you know a nurse, a physician, or someone who works at a hospital.
We're working around the clock to keep you, your family, and our community safe and healthy.
But we need your help. Wash your hands, maintain social distance, and most importantly, wear a cloth face mask.
When you wear a mask, you're protecting your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, and yourself.
Science and evidence must shape our actions.
Wear a mask.
Never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and
wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
When the pandemic hit, New York City was told to stay home.
But some homes hurt.
That's why when New York City stopped, we didn't.
Safe Horizon is here for you, with you, through it all.
Their shelters are still open.
Staff are working tirelessly on the front lines of the pandemic to keep people safer.
Because when home is where the harm is, safety is essential.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk, Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else. What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fm.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors here. The show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
The Lars Larson Show. On the left, they say that this president has divided America. No, the opposition, the resistance to Donald Trump is what has divided America, because Donald Trump said he would work with both sides, and he's shown that he would. But the Democrats, because they want to take a position that everything about Donald Trump is wrong, to a large extent, they have refused to work with him on anything.
The Lars Larson Show, weeknights at 6 on SuperTalk Mississippi. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I really enjoyed that conversation with Jase Payne. What a bright young man he is, and he's making his mark. At 31 years old, I love talking to young people in coastal Mississippi who have committed to living here and making their contribution here. Hey, incidentally, on Fridays, we've been talking with Jeff Duncan from The Athletic to have Saints Friday. And now that the Saints season's over with, Jeff's still going to be joining me for half a show on Fridays to talk about the latest of the Saints. We'll be talking about sort of the sports, the sports situation in the South and whatever else is on Jeff's mind. He's also a horse racing enthusiast and expert, so there's a lot to talk to Jeff Duncan about. You can join us on Fridays. So now let's shift gears to the Vice President of Clinic Operations, Matthew Walker. We'll call him Matt today. And he's at Memorial Hospital in Gulfport, and I look forward to just trying to get an update on what's going on with COVID and looking back at 2020, what stands out, and we'll look ahead to 2021 as well. So good morning, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning. Doing well.
I see you went to Auburn. My son went to Auburn. War Eagle.
War Eagle. That means we get to use small words, and hopefully there's some pictures along the way, right?
For sure. I had a couple of Alabama graduates on yesterday.
Yeah.
And I still said War Eagle to them. So, but as I mentioned to you, I spent a lot of time in Alabama. I was president of a media group that had AL.com, the Birmingham News, Huntsville Times, and the Mobile Press Register. I was born in Birmingham. I went to UAB. You went to Auburn, but you went over to Sanford to get your master's degree. You started out in nursing. How did you tell me about that path from nursing to basically administration and the responsibilities you have today?
Well, I guess I'm just glutton for punishment. But, early on in my career, the way nursing kind of attacks patients as far as, to care and treat for them, I got into a few business classes, and I kind of realized hospitals were kind of the same dynamic. So, if you treat an organization the same way that you treat a patient, it somehow works, or it clicked in my brain. So I originally thought I wanted to be a CRNA. I started taking a few business classes along the way, and it turns out that I kind of like this side of the healthcare industry just as much as I like clinical care.
Yeah, once it gets in your blood, I mean, it's interesting. There's so many different paths that you can take. But as you know, I've had Kent Nico on the show several times. Kent is the administrator there. And then A really good friend of this show has been Dr. Nicholas Conger, the infectious disease doctor there at Memorial that you know well. But Nick's been just a great friend of mine, a great friend of the show. I actually had my own COVID experience, and he and I used during our conversations my own experience to sort of help inform people about what to look for, why it's important to be careful. But he's had such a practical view toward the pandemic from the very beginning. And I think his practical advice to people has really helped save a lot of people just in terms of just being more careful. You've heard that before about him, haven't you?
Absolutely. He's really intelligent, bright guy. He's got a bright future in front of him, but he can speak, to everyone. And really is able to take very complicated things, kind of cook it down into everyday language, and I think that's what's well received by the general public.
So you're heavily involved in the Memorial Physicians Clinics, and there are over 100 physicians there today. Tell me about what you do.
So I'm responsible for everything that's not the hospital proper. So if we are managing clinics in Harrison County or Jackson County or Hancock County or Stone County, even if we're running kind of 1 day a week or 1 day a month clinics in George County, my team kind of makes sure that those things get facilitated correctly, that the staffing gets managed. Our COVID response, at least in the ambulatory space, has been my responsibility or my team's responsibility. So, we've got a nice little footprint. I think we've got about 85 or so different addresses. And whenever you start talking about builds in the IT world or the IT system, it's 110, 115 builds. So it keeps the work week interesting. A lot of different physicians like Dr. Conger are kind of in the complement, and but it's one of those passions that if you get bored in your job, you're probably not doing it correctly.
We're talking to Matt Walker, who's the VP of Clinic Operations at Memorial at Gulfport. So what's the latest as it relates to the numbers, the COVID numbers?
So, not unexpected, and it didn't take much of a crystal ball to know that we were going to see some higher numbers throughout the holidays and coming off of the holidays. We're 10 and a half months in, and from a testing standpoint, I think we've tested a little over 38,000 patients on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And we were running a run rate coming into Thanksgiving of about 2,300 tests a month. And then we kind of doubled that number in the month of November, going into and out of the Thanksgiving holidays. So we had about 4,500 tests in the month of November, and then we just about doubled that number again with the Christmas holidays. So, Christmas we had about 8,500 tests in December. January started off with a bang. That first week was pretty rough. There was a lot of activity. It's trying to cool off. And so I think our numbers for January are going to be a little less than December, and hopefully that means we're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, we had a bit of a Thanksgiving bump, and when we talked to Dr. Conger, he said for sure there's going to be a Christmas and New Year's bump. People who were really working hard to protect the vulnerable sort of dropped their guard during that holiday period, and then obviously, unfortunately, too many people have had to deal with the serious reactions that related to the virus. Some have died. Unfortunately, too many have died. But, as we do on the show all the time, Matt, we try to remind people that the tools that are at our disposal are the same tools we've had from the very beginning. Washing our hands, socially distancing, not loud talking close to someone, not touching your face, as Lee Bond, the administrator at Singing River, has said so many times, that if you haven't washed your hands in the past hour, you probably waited too long. And then especially protect the vulnerable. Those are going to be in place now for months still, and that's the key, isn't it?
It is, but every cloud has a silver lining. Normally by this time of year, we've seen, close to 1,000 flu cases. And for the month of January, I think we've only had 31 positive flus in the month of January that we've identified. So, I mean, the social distancing, the masking, the hand washing, it is having positive impacts on certain diseases that are communicable. But COVID is still kind of the bully in town that we're trying to get our arms around and make him go away.
So when you look back on 2020, when you sort of, in the quietness of your own thoughts, look back on 2020, what sticks out to you?
I hate to use buzzwords, but, there was a lot of perseverance. There was a lot of resolve. I saw probably intermittently our best management during 2020. It was hard. You got knocked down a lot. Didn't feel good a lot of days, but then whenever you kind of looked up, you realized that from a numbers standpoint, you're really making a difference. So I would say that 2020 was a very good year for learning. It taught us a lot, and I think it kind of poised us for whatever healthcare throws at us next. So I think was 2020 a challenge? You better believe it. But, has 21 felt any different? Not really. But I do think that we did a lot of learning, and I am proud of the work that Memorial has done throughout this pandemic.
Yeah, we tried to, on this show, Matt, we tried to focus on, it's easy to forget. We get moving so fast in our lives, it's easy to forget about the sacrifices that the healthcare profession has made. And we're not just talking about nurses and doctors, but anyone who has to be associated with a patient. It could be anyone from a custodian to, respiratory therapy, to the lab, to the administrators. I mean, it's incredible the way they have stepped up to the table. And in this COVID moment, I often refer to them as the true heroes of the situation. And if for no other reason, if you're not concerned about your family members and whatever, for no other reason, help stop the spread of COVID so that you can aid the healthcare professionals. What we're going to do, this is Matt Walker. He's the vice president at Memorial Hospitals. He's head of clinic operations. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about 2021 and how technology is really changing the healthcare profession. But we'll be back after this break.
Coast View on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk, Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else.
The Lars Larson Show. On the left, they say that this president has divided America. No, the opposition, the resistance to Donald Trump is what has divided America. Because Donald Trump said he would work with both sides, and he's shown that he would. But the Democrats, because they want to take a position that everything about Donald Trump is wrong, to a large extent, they have refused to work with him on anything.
The Lars Larson Show, weeknights at 6 on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam, as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. Norbert, Elvis.
And I want to tell you about Presley. He had two different voices. He would sit and talk to me in a very calm, low voice. And we were at Stack's one night, and we were having lunch. We always had lunch at midnight because He was nocturnal. We sat there and we have our sandwiches, and at 1 o'clock, he looked up. He said, "Hey, Pot, come on, it's time for me to go be office." And he stood up, and a much deeper voice, he put on his macho voice. "Hey, fellas, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get cracking, okay?"
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, Amazon Alexa, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
When the pandemic hit, New York City was told to stay home.
But some homes hurt.
That's why when New York City stopped, we didn't.
Safe Horizon is here for you, with you, through it all.
Their shelters are still open.
Staff are working tirelessly on the front lines of the pandemic to keep people safer.
Because when home is where the harm is, safety is essential.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi. When you listen to SuperTalk Mississippi, you become part of a statewide community, a community of knowledgeable, engaged, enlightened, well-informed, hard-working men and women just like you, all eager to see the Magnolia State grow and prosper. There may be some disagreement on how to get there, but the goal remains the same, for each Mississippian to reach their American dream. Thanks for listening and being a part of the conversation on SuperTalk Mississippi. Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Matt Walker with us. He's the VP of Clinic Operations at Memorial Hospital at Gulfport. And Matthew, one of the things that we've talked about on the show are the enormous number of trends that have been unleashed. Any trend that was in place before the pandemic, it just sped them up. It could have been e-commerce, a streaming video, or remote learning, just unbelievable numbers. But when you look at telemedicine in particular, here's one thing that really kind of stuck out with me. The increase in virtual appointments. It increased 10 times in 15 days, and there's no letting up. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be from now on. There's going to be a telemedicine aspect to medicine at a level that we were nowhere near before the pandemic. That's just the way it is, isn't it?
Absolutely. Here at Memorial, we saw about, we were pushing 70,000 televisits coming off of 2020. And that was significantly higher, like many multiples over what we did in 2019. Now, the pandemic kind of forced us into it. We had to do some things really quickly. Again, something that I'm really proud of, that we were able to rapidly adopt that across the continuum very quickly within a week. And it seems like it leveled off. Towards the end of the year, we were probably running about 10% of all encounters that we were seeing in the ambulatory space were virtual in nature. And I think that's going to continue. I think the insurance payers are supporting it. I think the patients are liking it. I think the providers are tolerating it. And so I do think that there is definitely a time and a place for virtual medicine, and I think it is here to stay on the Gulf Coast.
So, just watching it through certain family members I've had that have used, that telemedicine aspect to have their appointments. But, to visit with the nurse on an iPad and literally in sort of this room. And then when it's time to see the physician, to go down the hall and go into the physician's room and to meet with them there. And the way that he uses or she uses technology to really move that conversation along. It seems super, super efficient to me. It also seems to be, the level of personal care seems to be incredible, really, if you think about not being face-to-face with the doctor.
Yeah, it does create a lot of bandwidth within the day because there are efficiencies that can be gained through telehealth. All things are not appropriate for telehealth. Obviously, there are many times where we need to lay hands on patients, but as far as a very good screening tool, as far as intermittent updates on patient care, everything's going well, we just need to review some medicines, those types of encounters, I do see a huge value in that. Or I just don't feel good and I don't feel like getting around a bunch of people. That's really what we saw during the pandemic was patients that had those types of acute nature issues that were medical in nature. Those people really benefited from telehealth.
It's so interesting to think back at Memorial Hospital just being sort of one location at one point to the point where it is today, which you said it's over 80 locations. The tentacles of Memorial just reach all over the community, doesn't it?
It does, and it crosses all socioeconomic phases of the coast, and we love them all equally. So it's fun to open up new clinics in new neighborhoods. It's fun to get phone calls about where our RV, which is our mobile clinic, needs to go next. These vaccinations, those are really opportunities to shine in the general public. Now, I wish we could get our hands on a few more vaccinations. I would think that the entire country would make the same statement, just because it feels like this is our opportunity where we could potentially be doing more. But it's one of those things where when it's our turn, and we'll step up and we'll manage when it's appropriate.
Just as a layperson watching the evolution of the medicine field, the medical field, it's been interesting watching the role the physician's assistant and the nurse practitioner is playing in this evolution. It's incredible, really, if you think about the growth in that sector, isn't it?
It is, and it's been a had-to space. There are not enough doctors, NDs and DO programs. There's not enough specialists, and to kind of fill the gap between, kind of the scope of the nurse and the scope of the doctor, you've seen these NP programs and PA programs really have a heyday as far as being able to just fill that void, and you will see, that they are very much welcomed within the doors of Memorial, and we are happy to put them to work and keep them working because there's definitely a need.
This is Matthew Walker. Matthew, I really appreciate you spending some time with us today, and I look forward to talking to you again in the future. Your Alabama accent kind of makes me feel at home because I have a lot of family who lives in Birmingham and surrounding areas. But Matt is the Vice President of Clinic Operations at Memorial at Gulfport. We really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Broadcasting safe and sound from the coastal Mississippi studios, this is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk 103.1.